Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of COVID Chats with Coach Doug. Yes, tonight's guest, unparalleled, unbelievable that I get the opportunity to host and talk to my good friend, the one and only Olympic champion, Donovan Bailey. Canadian icon. I mean, he's Order of Canada. He has done so many things for this country. Great commentator, amazing ambassador of the Olympics. But I know him as D. He's my guy and my friend, and I'm pretty pumped the fact that he is willing to come on and hang out with me. He's probably running on Jamaica time, so he'll probably be a little bit late. But it's kind of funny. He and I became friends. We knew each other kind of through basketball, but we became friends when we started playing men's league. It was really kind of cool because, you think, oh my gosh, Donovan Bailey, he's this icon. He's just like, what's he like? And the really cool part about it is he is actually a pretty chill dude. And a very humble guy, but it's funny, he can turn the switch on when he needs to, and I can't wait to talk to him a little bit about that. Got some great questions. If you have any questions tonight, okay, make sure you press the question mark at the bottom of your screen and type in a question for me, okay? There he is. He just logged on. He just has to hit. He's going to join my chat, and I'm really looking forward to this. This is going to be really fun. Let me see. I'll add him in. He's right there. There he is. There he is, right there. All right, everybody. Without any further ado, the one, the only, and my good friend, Mr. Donovan Bailey, world's fastest man, coming right at you here on COVID Chats. Oh, little technical difficulty. I don't see him yet.
Hello?
D, flip the camera around, man. Where'd you go, man? Like, you gotta actually you gotta be able to see me, right? Camera, dude. This is the part of the thing you gotta do. I gotta be able to see you. Oh, this is hilarious, guy. Too fun. Yes. Oh, you got ring light and everything. I love it. I'm so jealous. I need a ring light. Well, uh, there you are. There you are. I see you now. There you are. Now, just so I can see your mug. We're both wearing glasses now. This is hilarious, dude. Oh my gosh. Technical diff. There he is. Yes. Finally. There he is. What's up, guy? Oh, no, where'd you go? What'd you do? What do you keep hitting? Okay, don't touch it. Except the cord's in the middle of the camera there, brother. Oh my god. It's like your first time with technology. Like, horrible. It is. Wow. That's fantastic. Well, thank you for gracing me with your first Instagram live there, Mr. Bailey. What's up, guy? How you keeping? Oh man, don't tell me you have a bug. Well, Wi-Fi can get a little goofy on Instagram. Sometimes we break the internet and we might have to log back in. So, but anyway, there you go. So, how you make that's good. Okay, yeah, cheers. Right at you, brother. Well, listen, first of all, thank you so very much for joining me. What an awesome opportunity to see you, first of all, because, like, dude, like, it's been forever. You getting through this okay? That's good. Family's good? Oh, D, hold on. Hold on. 1 second. Can you log out and log back in? They can't hear you. So just all right. Sorry about that, guys. He'll come back. First of all, we had to get him going. So, anyways, first time Instagram live guy, right? So, I mean, a little bit of technology. So, give him a sec. He'll come back. and we'll get him back on here. Yes, thank you very much for everybody letting me know that. I really do appreciate it. There we go. Let's try this one more time. If you have any questions, again, press the question marks, add it down, and I'll try and get to them as much as possible. There we go.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah, let me know. Can you hear him now, people? Somebody give me a thumbs up or a no. That's all I want to
Can you
know.
hear?
It's my people.
Hello, hello, hello.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Right? It's
Is it
the
the
old.
headphones? Maybe I'll take the earpiece out.
We're good. We're good.
We're good? Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
Good.
Okay.
Now we're all good, bro.
Yeah, you're asking me how am I getting through this? First of all, man, listen, much respect and shouts out to our first responders, and definitely to all the incredible medical people that's putting their life on the line every single day, getting out there and treating all of the sick, all of the sick, and hoping that we get through this and it's positive, get out on the other side. But yeah, for me, you know what, tough. It's really hard for me to sit still. The cancellation of the Olympics was a tough thing for me.
For sure.
So I mean, the track season is shortened. I got quarantined in Canada when it's cold. So
no, right? We can't do it. Oh man, so bad. I've been doing lessons like it's like going out of style. So it's like it's really teaching me how to get better at online and communication and all that stuff, right? And I mean, it's amazing, like even this technology and Zoom. I mean, I wish I'd taken stock out in Zoom, for crying out loud. I mean, it's going through the roof, right? But
yeah.
It's really, I really do appreciate you recognizing our healthcare providers and everybody that's on the front lines, putting themselves at risk. I mean, it really does, we can't function without them.
I have to, man.
You and I
both know, you and I both know, Dougie, we're both blessed people, right? And ultimately, whether we're participating in sports or we're sports fans, we kind of, I mean, I know it's a we, but for certain, you kind of have to understand how important it is to kind of give a shout out to these great, amazing men and women who are putting their lives out there, man. So for me, yeah, we'll get on, we'll talk about every single thing under the sun, but yeah, man, I have to really thank them, and personally for me, I'm gonna be fine. Like you just mentioned, I'm gonna have to retool how things are done. I mean, it's definitely forcing us old people to get into how technology works. I mean, my parents is for me, traveling around the world and meeting fans and autograph signing and all those things. That's the the hugging the babies and kissing the ladies and taking photos and signing autographs and all that stuff. That's such a hands-on thing, and people want to see people who are your supporters. They want to see you and hear you and touch you. Now everything's virtual, so I mean, so practicing social distancing, it's about saving your life. So so retooling and understanding how what you must do is what we're gonna have to get used to, and also the new norm. I mean, usually I'd say, Doug, I want to play golf.
Yeah, let's go play golf.
Let's talk.
Right, yeah. Right. Exactly. It'd be like, I'm like, yeah, let's August. Just like, right?
Yeah.
But this is the thing. And I mean, you know what? You really make some great points, because it really, I mean, all the little things we take for granted, like grabbing one of my students' golf clubs or putting them in a position, or for you, like signing an autograph or posing with somebody, right, dude? Out the window, right? And it's all different now. And it's really an interesting point, because I think, I know I've seen a big change in my industry. I mean, a lot of people hosting things about the golf swing and stuff like that. And that's kind of why I started this project. But it really wants to talk and dive into people and bring people to the forefront where they may not be able to see people, and actually get to know them a little bit and see what they're like. So, I mean, So when I'm thinking about who can I get, and I'm like, yo, I gotta get D. I gotta send a message, right? So when you said yes, I was like, awesome. I couldn't
Come
wait.
on, dude.
Oh, great. One, I get the chance to just see you and say, hey, man, what's up? But I mean, all right, everybody. I really don't think he needs an introduction, but just a little overview of this dude right here. Now, believe it or not, he was actually a basketball player, and a pretty good basketball player. He's got a scar in his
I was
eyebrow
okay.
from the. He could fly as he played at Sheridan College. And the really cool thing, before he was an Olympic champion, he was working down in the finance district, getting on the GO train every morning, taking it in from Oakville. Right, bro? Exactly.
I was out slaving. Yes, I was definitely in the
Yes, you
office
slaving.
and not liking it, but yeah, wasn't for me.
That's okay. But the really interesting thing, so Canadian icon, you've had parks named after you. You've been an envoy for a bid with Turkey. 9.84 seconds. World's fastest man in Atlanta. World's legit fastest man in another thing that we won't bring up. But hey,
there's only one legit. It's all good. You don't have to even qualify. It is what it is.
Right? The really funny part about this thing is I've seen you in such a different light than people see you as a celebrity, right? And you and I mean, we've played dominoes, we've done like hangs, we just chill
all
out,
kinds
right?
of stuff, Doug.
Right, exactly. But it's a really interesting point. So here's a question. All right. So your story's been told countless times. And most recently, if you haven't watched it, go check out Engraved in a Nation. It's a great story, gives a great little synopsis about you. And, it reminds everybody just how special the victory in Atlanta was. You were always fast. Growing up, you were always fast. Your brother,
right,
self-admittedly, was a better athlete than you, right?
Apparently. Well, I mean, I don't know. I beat him when I was 15, so I don't know how I was a better athlete. See, people forget that, but that's okay.
There you go. All right,
I'm watching the Last Dance. I'm very certain that you are too, and it's talking about Jordan and the competition that he had with his brother, and his brother took him to the cleaners all the time, right? So I mean, my brother and I would never really I played on the basketball team. He's 3 years older than me, so I expect that he's better than me. But in track, I mean, he was one of the best long jumpers in the country. What happened at Nelson when I was 15 years old, there wasn't enough senior sprinters. So they brought up a couple of the midget and junior. This is at Nelson High School. I hope we get some record of it. Because apparently I came from nowhere. And so I was 15 at the time. I got in the blocks. I'm like, I'm gonna crush these guys. And so I won. I ran 10:59 that day at 15. So I ran track in Jamaica as I ran track in Jamaica at the national championships as a sprinter. So again, I didn't come from anywhere. But yeah,
well, no.
What's awesome is that growing up in Oakville and playing ball, and as you know, everyone knows you as Doug, the golf coach, but I know you as Doug the baller, Doug the guy that will take you to the hoop and dunk on your head. No different. Everyone thinks I'm a sprinter and don't really realize that, one, I really wasn't the greatest dribbler in the world, but if I took off and the ball's in my hand, just get out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Well, that's why you have the scar, right? Exactly.
That's why the scar on my eyebrow is from hitting the rim, trying to block a shot. Yes.
That was unreal, dude. I just remember you were like, get up, and it'd be like above the square, right? And it'd be like, oh my gosh, this guy can just fly. So yeah. Really interesting point. So I'm just gonna come back to this. So you're working like you don't want to, but all of a sudden, like, what was the tipping point to bring you back into the Canadian Championships? You had not even trained, and all of a sudden somebody's like, hey, D, we got the Canadian Championships. Why don't you come run?
Right. No. You know what? It's a really unique situation. There's a very good friend of mine named Andre Metivier, and also Hopeton Taylor. We're trying to make the national team. Hopeton was at University of Minnesota as a triple jumper, and Andre was at University of Toledo. So they came back and they were trying to make the national team. Now I had competed in high school, and I was one of the better sprinters in high school. So I competed against Glenn Roy. I hadn't competed against Bruni because he's in Montreal. but I'd certainly competed against Glenroy, and I'd ran an OFSA against Mike Smith. Like every year I went to OFSA, I made the finals. It just that I didn't care. As you know, track was just kind of get out of school and go and see what the other beautiful people from the other places. The best way I can put it. The beautiful people from the other places meet more beautiful people. Let them know that we're from Oakville, right? You know what I'm saying, Doug.
Yes.
But I went to go and watch those guys. I'd spoken to them, and they said, "Listen, we're gonna go start training." And then there was a meet in Etobicoke, and I went to go watch both of them compete. I didn't have shoes, I didn't have anything, and so I borrowed shoes and shorts and a t-shirt. And I kind of got, like, I really wasn't even supposed to be there. I mean, I would, because there's actually a protocol. You have to be part of a club. You got to be,
yes.
but it's Donovan. It's typical Donovan. Just listen, get me in the race. I need a lane. I can beat these guys. I got in, and I won, and worked a little bit with Erwin Turney, who was a good dude in Mississauga, and that's all she wrote. I mean, a couple of weeks later, I was at the national championships.
Unreal. It's like I could just see you, right? It's like, yo, just look, there's a lane. I got it. Don't worry. Yeah.
You know me.
Okay. Oh, totally, bro. But it's really interesting. You came from Jamaica. You guys settled in Oakville, and I truly believe that Oakville was the reason you are where you are and who you turned out to be. Because I don't know, and you can correct me if you're wrong, but if you had settled anywhere else, do you think we know who Donovan Bailey is?
Well, you know what? The short answer is absolutely, because my parents taught us to be successful in whatever we did, right? However, I think that I always talk about Oakville or just the area, and I always talk about sports, and I always talk about support system. I mean, again, maybe most of the people that that's probably listening that know you don't know that we've been boys for 30 years. I mean, yeah. And so I talk about good people doing good things, and there's always someone there going, "No, dude, go do it." Yeah, if you think that there's an opportunity for you to go someplace and improve, go ahead and do it. So my parents, the structure that my parents laid down was amazing. The friends and the extended family that I have are very supportive, and the friends. I mean, my boys, the fellas, man. So, and they've always been there, and they're still to this day. I mean, that's what so even going through all of this stuff, we actually getting on and getting to have like this kind of thing where we can chat and like the good old days instead of texting,
Exactly. And it's really funny. You talk about those guys, and Baptiste and I mean, you look at, Sean and Mark Francis, right?
Yeah, man. Well, the whole crew, man. There's Patrick, Terry, Rick, Ron, Kenichi, Junior. I mean, there's 30 people left Oakville and drove down to come to watch me in Atlanta. So, I mean, hey.
As they should have. Now, the really funny story is, I got to throw this story out. This is one of the best stories ever. The really funny part about this is that you went to high school with my wife. And this is before we
absolutely.
Met. She was dating a guy at QE Park, and you guys were all at this house party one night. Now my wife had driven her dad's brand new, I think it was a Monte Carlo, and unfortunately she had a little too much to drink. But you guys, Rick, and Terry, I think, drove her home.
Absolutely.
Put her in the driveway, and left her in the passenger seat and left.
But that's what we do, though. That's part. No, Dougie, seriously, man, and like people don't even understand that because it just it's like we were. Listen, we were not Boy Scouts, okay? But no one did anything illegal, and we were genuine, really good kids. I mean, yeah, we'd go out and we'd party all the time. Yes, we did that, but we also went to be supportive at sports. For sure. I mean, but if someone was going to be if we knew that someone was going to be in danger, we're 100%. We win. We'll take care of them and see them at school the next day or whatever. Yeah, absolutely. That's part of what it is that I am. Maybe few people know that.
Right. it's such a funny story, but it's such a great story about you guys. And it's like, you know, like there's just such great character there, right? So I love telling that
Right,
story because it's such a great one. So
right.
one of the things I love about what you're doing now, okay, like you know, throughout your rise and your after your Olympic glory and everything like that,
Mm-hmm.
you had a plan to get back to your roots in Jamaica. You built a beautiful house in Jamaica, and but you're doing something amazing right now. You are building schools, and
Right.
that is a very near and dear project for you. And how did that
Mm-hmm.
start, and what was the motivation for it? Because it's a great story.
Well, number one, I mean, listen, I mean, I look at this as just a normal thing. So I don't. So thank you very much for your support, Doug. I know you got my back. But you know what? Uh, we started the conversation talking about how blessed we are,
Mm-hmm.
and really, that's really where, for me, you know, Canada has allowed me to, well, being Jamaican and being Canadian has allowed me to be a very balanced man most of the time. um, and I think being blessed, what being blessed means for me is that I need to always give back, always be thankful for the people that are doing amazing things for me, and always give back. As a child, one of the things that my parents preach is that you must be academically sound, regardless of what level you go to. And also, you have to balance it with sports. My parents didn't care about the sports part. They knew we were going to gravitate to it anyways. So the focus was on us doing and being, academically sound. And for me, those are the very same things that I see and part of my legacy and what I want to carry on. I mean, I'm involved with the Olympia Sports Camp, so that's a sports component of that. That's some I do every single year. We hold camps there. We get all the kids, and participate in leadership. We get the Donovan Bailey speed and power workout, so these guys can understand how it is to get the very most of their body physically. And of course, the balance is building schools. I mean, I've been part of many school build projects, and I think that if I'm going to if I'm going to contribute, and then at some point sit back and reflect on how I use my time, then what I should do is give back. And I think that I think that building schools. I mean, and it's not high schools. I mean,
Oh,
these are kindergarten or other. But one of the things I always tell people is this: uh, do you ever see do you ever see the light in the eyes of a 5 or 6 or 7 year old when they know an opportunity is there? And that opportunity could be anything. It could be absolutely anything. But there's a
I,
certain light that's in the eyes of a child. Dougie, you are a coach of kids and golf, and you know when every single time when you have that particular kid and he hits the ball straight, everything,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, and you kind of go, man. So in sports, I love that. In school, I love that. I mean, so fortunately for me, it's the right thing to do, man. And like I said,
Sure.
if I'm blessed,
And,
and I'll continue to give back.
well, that's why I wanted to bring it up because it is such it's such a great story about giving back and seeing the light shine and twinkle because you know it's not like you're building this in the resort communities where it's like really nice and stuff. You're
God,
building
no.
these spots that need it, the spots that are
Right,
impoverished, they don't have a lot of money, and you're giving back
right.
to help kids get education, just like your parents instilled in you in giving back to help others. Well, I mean, it just it's just an awesome story all around. So, all right, this was really cool. When one of my students, one of my young guys, his dad found out that I was doing this interview with you, all right,
Okay.
he sends me this really cool quote. So, back when we settled the score of who the world's fastest man was with Michael Johnson,
Oh,
right? Your famous line of "He's a chicken," all right. Um, it was really interesting. So I got to read this. I got to read this quote because this is great. A story from one of my parents highlighted is this. I was going to Lehigh and my sister was on the golf team at Princeton. she called and said, Bob Costas is coming to dinner with the captains of all the sports teams. I'm going to be going, and we're going to have a quick Q&A with him. What should I ask Bob Costas? And to this, my junior's parent says, her brother says, I told her, ask him why, when a Canadian wins 100 meters, he calls the 200-meter winner the world's fastest man. So she actually did. She called him out. She goes, he wasn't expecting it, and especially the fact that she was going to a U.S. school, he didn't expect a Canadian to be asking him that question. And
we're everywhere. Oh, my God. Hey, Dougie, here's the thing. Bob Costas is a really, really good guy. I get it. I understand, right? I mean, and one of the major, I mean, I lived in America for 17 years. I trained, went to LSU and University of Texas, trained at both those universities, and amazing, great culture, phenomenal patriotism. But they also got to understand, how rabid the Canadian fans are. And so Bob was in a situation where he was really just offering his opinion. I mean, and the opinion didn't really make a lot of sense because it makes no sense mathematically. There's zero chance that Michael could run 100 meters, and I never wanted to run a 200 meters, so it didn't really matter.
Right.
My top speed was 27.8 miles an hour or something like that, and his was 22. So it really wasn't. There wasn't a whole lot. Michael's a speed endurance guy, running the quarter and running the 200 meters. So I mean, Michael and I ran in the 100 meters prior to 1997, and it was never close, ever. So it really wasn't. So, but I understand that.
Such a funny question.
Yeah, Bob was in a situation, Doug. That's all it was. Yeah. And you know what? I mean, listen, he participated in that doc last year, and you can see with Bob's guy, hey man, I wasn't trying to do it. He was just trying to do his job. But at the end, Bob's a good dude.
It was great. So you mentioned about living in the States for 17 years and training and stuff like that. And when you were training at Texas, because that's where you spent most of your time, right, you had a really cool legacy. Now, one of the really cool stories I have is back when we were playing men's league basketball, you and a very good friend of ours, Dave Roscoe, you guys went to the NCAA finals, right? That were being played.
I forgot that.
Right? And they were in San Antonio, right? No. Yeah. So you guys
San Antonio, yeah.
Yeah, well, you guys fly in, and the cabbie that picks you guys up used to drive you around when you were living there.
When I was in Austin. Dude, it's yeah, man, totally cool. Totally cool and totally random. I mean, yeah.
No, but the best part was the relays are going on, the Fort Worth relays. And he goes, hey, the relays are on. And you're like, let's go. So you guys drive the Fort Worth relays.
Texas relays, yes.
And you guys get out, you walk in the stadium, and they stop the stadium. And they announce you and Dave walk out on the middle of the field, and they announce you here at the stadium, and you get a standing ovation. That's insane.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. Decent body of work, Doug. Decent body of work. And I was a good guy. I was a competitor. It wasn't always pretty, but my responsibility was to train hard, and my relay partners was to push them so that we could win. So it wasn't always nice, but we did a good job, and plus always also Texas is such. I mean, I shouldn't say not just Texas, because anywhere that you go to in America, sports. I mean, like going through this pandemic, I'm sure it must be hell for a lot of these people. Yes, people are dying. And that's the number one thing that we have to focus on. But but the sport culture, where fans, they go and they work their butts off all week, and they want to go and support their college team or their professional team. This is how they go and express themselves. It must be really, really hard. So going back at University of Texas, and waving to the crowd and them appreciating it. I mean, listen, I'm blessed, and I'm always thankful for the honor. But realistically, these guys, I mean, sports fans are amazing, especially in the States, in Canada too. where sports is a religion.
That's true. So, one of my favorite stories about Texas, other than that one, was when you were training there, and it was you, Bruni, Glenroy, Carlton, and Everton Esme. You guys would blow off steam after training and play pickup with the basketball team.
Not Carlton and Robert. They can't play basketball.
Oh, they weren't there?
Bruni
Oh,
and
okay.
Glenn.
Fine with it. But you guys would go, but you would pick up some other track guys and go play pickup, and it'd be like a dunk fest. Weren't you worried about getting hurt?
Never, never, ever. Listen, here's the thing. Well, that's the reason why I ended up blowing my Achilles at Sheridan College. So here's what happens as an athlete. You are invincible, no matter what. You can, I was, I'm coming off the track. I'm the world's fastest human being, and I'm trying to take off from the foul line to do a 360 reverse, or coming from the baseline trying to do like a tomahawk in between the legs. I mean, it was absolutely irrelevant that, hey man, there's a whole group of fans, and track people waiting for you out there to see what you do. I'm just like, nope. I'm just trying to go play ball. I mean, when I came back to Oakville, I mean, I'd call the boys up. I mean, Rick, when his knees were good, I'm like, yo, man, we're playing pickup. Francis, Mark and Sean, my cousins, like, absolutely. Yep. I mean, I was playing in men's league with you.
True. True.
Listen, whenever it is that, like, we roll up and you have a basketball in the back of the car, and we get in the driveway. So for me, I just I've always been pretty laid back in kind of how I took sport. I think a lot of times, I was very blessed, and it looked easy, and I made it look easy. I mean, I could dunk the basketball from I was 5'7", and then I went and ran track, and I was fast, but I was fast from I was 5, 6, 7 years old when I was competing in Jamaica. So I was immensely blessed genetically by some great Bailey genes.
Very cool. All right. So this is one of my favorite times of these things. They're called a Fast Five. All right. So there's like 5 questions. You don't know what's coming at you, but you got to answer truthfully to them. Okay.
Okay. First thing that comes to mind.
Don't worry.
I got you, man. I got you. Not my first rodeo.
Yeah. So what member of the Avengers is Donovan Bailey?
Oh my God. I've never seen the Avengers.
What superhero is Donovan Bailey?
Oh, Black Man.
Black Man.
I don't know.
Oh,
yes, man. Black Man. That's who I am.
Oh, fantastic. Oh my gosh. All right. In all your time of all the athletes you've ever met, okay? Like, we're talking in all the sport, okay? Give me 3 athletes, male or female, that are just unbelievable and have impressed you.
Does it have to be athletes?
Well, I'm thinking like in the time that you've met all kinds of different athletes, from tennis pros to like basketball players to track and field people. Like, I'm just thinking, in all of your things, give me 3 people that you've.
Okay, listen. I can give you people that are very important that I met them. I met Muhammad Ali in Atlanta, and I mean, I was nervous. I mean, I couldn't even talk. You know what I mean? I had dinner with Nelson Mandela. So. Yeah, so I'm just saying that when I have the opportunity, I sit there and I'm just saying to you that, there's not a whole lot of things that can keep me quiet, but I'm just saying to you, you're pacified or you're in awe of people who are doing amazing things. I had the opportunity to meet Michael Jackson in Paris.
Wow.
Yep, I met the great MJ, Michael Jordan, in Chicago. So I mean, listen, here's a great thing. When you're the fastest man in the world, you're blessed to be in a position where the other great heroes in sports, as they're known, or politics or whatever, these people are like we're always in the same circle. So I'm fortunate to have met a ton of amazing people. Some of them, I still have in my phone. We still communicate. So I've been very, very fortunate to meet some of the most influential people in the world.
So Muhammad Ali, like that must have been just unbelievable.
Well, I mean, if you have a man saying you're the champ, right? I mean, and you got to think about that. I mean, that's just you got to think about how what that means. I mean, and and especially '96 when he wasn't he wasn't his health was deteriorating.
Sure.
I'm just saying, like I am always in awe when I'm with people who do normal things to them. Like to them, they think that they're doing normal things. I mean, Mandela, just to be kind,
Nope.
just, Mother Teresa, I'm just saying people getting out and, just, hey, man, we need to go and feed those people or we
Well,
think that those people need to get clothes.
That's one of the things that I've always thought about you. And one of the best gestures you ever did was we're playing men's league basketball, man. And all the parents and all the guys that are playing in this league, right? They bring their kids to the final game because you're playing with me and we're playing in the final and stuff like that. But the really great part about that is you signed autographs for all these little kids whose parents told them who you were. And this is like way after anything you in terms of like, world's fastest man. But the best thing about it is you took the time and the kids are like, look, he signed my shoe. Oh my gosh, he signed my hand, whatever. It was fantastic. And so you're talking about people doing really nice things that, like these athletes who come across very normal. That is one of the best things I love about you is you can turn it on if you have to, but when you're like when you're normal yourself, like everyday Donovan, it's really cool because you are so very humble in the way that you treat everybody that comes up and you stop and make the time for them. So that's really cool. All right, next question. All right. Finish this sentence. Usain Bolt is
the greatest sprinter that ever lived.
Cool. Can you tell everybody the story about when you first met him and then seeing him like 2 or 3 years later? Do you remember that story?
I'm trying to remember I met him when he was like 13.
Yes, and he was like 6'4" and 150 pounds.
150 was like 125 pounds.
Right, and then like 2 years later, you see.
No, it's not even 2 years later. Listen, Usain was when he was like 14. He was amazing. I mean, but you have to understand I think that sometimes people don't get this. He was always fast. I think his coaches thought that because he was so tall, that he would be best at 6'5", 6'6", 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". He would be best to run the quarter because everyone thinks, oh yeah, man, he can get up to speed and he can maintain, for a long time. But you know what? He definitely changed what the model is for what the body style should be for a sprinter. Usain was always fast. He was always a good dude too. Always fast, always fun-loving. So did I know that Usain was going to be the fastest man in the world, fast man in history, and he was going to run 9.5 and 19.1? Absolutely not. But you know what? That's really how kind of life works. And as soon as he got into proper training, proper scheduling, the coach, Stephen Francis and Glenn are both. And Glenn Mills are both phenomenal coaches. And the fact is that those guys have.
I want to pause on that because there's a question there about those guys.
Right. Those guys are amazing. Yeah.
So, can you please? Okay, so it's a fast five. You played golf with Gary Player.
Yes. That's the first time I ever played golf. Terrible. Yes, Doug. And you can tell them all.
But
you remember the story?
Yeah. Right. What did Gary tell you?
I don't remember what did I tell you? I need to slow it down. No.
You are like he was like talking about fitness and how fit you were.
Right. Oh yeah. Right.
Or something, right? And you've never really played golf ever before. And you stand up and you crank 320 and he looks and he goes, he's basically dumbfounded and he goes, He goes, "This isn't fair," or something to that effect. But he was so
No, no.
impressed by your.
He said to me that I had I think the strongest core he had ever seen on a human, something like that.
That's what it
Right.
was.
Yeah, as you know, Doug, I hit it 320, and sometimes it just doesn't go straight.
You hit it 320, still make double. That's okay. Anyway,
Yes, yes, yes.
yes. So here's my last fast five question. Who's Donovan Bailey's hero?
Wow, my dad. I mean that's easy.
Yeah.
That's easy. I mean that's it's George. It's George Bailey. I mean, my father he didn't even have a high school education. Worked his ass off. Retired early, invested in real estate, moved back to Jamaica. I mean, was my best friend. I mean, when he was alive. I mean, I was one of those guys who, fortunately, I was a mama's boy, and my father was my best friend. Mind you, my father became my friend after I was about 21, 22-ish, when I actually had a job. As you know, it's typical Jamaican father. Uh, but yeah, when I was making use of my time, and I had bought a house, and when he defined what success was, my father was my best friend. He was always supportive, but my hero, no matter what, man. I mean, they're my parents, but my dad is my dude for sure.
Awesome. That's a great, that's a great story. Thanks for sharing that with me and us. So not too many people get to say they were an Olympic envoy for another country. And
Right.
you got to do that for Turkey.
Ambassador. It's a few.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ambassador. Yeah, like you got to be the ambassador for Turkey in their strive for an Olympic bid. How did
Right.
how did how did that work? Like what was your responsibility for that for Turkey? Why did they basically want
Well,
you to?
Well, I think that number one, I think I was an ambassador. So usually what happens, countries have bids. Many countries bid for the Olympic Games every 4 years or every 2 years. I supported Greece in 2004, certainly Turkey, but Turkey has a different, I guess we have a different connection. In 1994, when I just started track and field, um, my first international club contract was with Fenerbahce, and Fenerbahce is kind of like Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment. So Fenerbahce owns a soccer team, a
Yeah.
basketball team. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and lived in Istanbul for like 6 months to train with the Turkish team. Funny enough, Doug, hold on, the Turkish 4x1 relay team, we ran this time in Malaga, Spain, in 1994. And guess who the anchor is on the Turkish 4x1 relay team? It is I.
You.
It is I.
No way.
But but I tell you, but Turkey is amazing, because even it actually came to the point that after 1994, I had such an amazing time with the club team that they essentially said to me, "Hey man, if you ever want to come and represent us, if you ever want to move to Turkey and get your citizenship, and here's a nice lucrative offer, you could come and do this." And I said, "Yeah, you know what? I'm Canadian, man. I don't think that would be. I had options, but there's no way I was going to leave Canada."
Wow, that's pretty cool. It's one of those things that I was like, wow, that's not too many people get those opportunities to do those things. So like, what was like? I'm just curious. Like, what were some of your responsibilities? Like, what did you have to do?
Well, I think that it's the same. I think that being an ambassador, really just to talk. First of all, figure out what the infrastructure is and get out and present and market. That's really what it's kind of like what I do every day. It's what I did as an athlete for Canada. It's what I
Okay.
did as with Adidas. Is what I did with Olympia Sports Camp. Is what I've done with Coca-Cola. It's what I've done with uh, you know umpteen other uh, uh, ambassadorial roles, or umpteen other corporate partnerships that I've been with. So I mean, anytime a country's bidding, obviously
Right.
you have to buy into the program that they're bringing, and and
Cool.
and so that, yeah. So that was the same thing, because even this year in Tokyo, I was also a big fan. love Japan. Japan really loves me. And so I was also very supportive of Tokyo getting it,
Don't
of
forget
Tokyo
the
getting it also.
Bailey. Settle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So, all right. Really surprise question here. So,
Uh-oh.
96, 96. All right. You're in the blocks in the final, and your boy Linford Christie gets DQ'd, and he's not leaving. He doesn't want to leave. He's got to leave, but he's not leaving. Was that him being Linford Christie, or was that him being a little bit trying to throw everybody else off?
I don't think Linford's malicious, man. That's my boy. I don't think he would.
I
I
know.
mean, I think that one. No, but I think that one. Um, I think that he was probably disappointed. The Linford Chris that I know is the guy. He's gonna fall on the shield. You know what I mean? He's gonna go out in the shield. That's really. And I think that, I mean, although I'd won the World Championships the year before that, I came back. I came into 1996 as one of the favorite. I was getting ready. Frankie was really the guy I just wanted to. Frankie, I'd said some things earlier in the year because we were supposed to run in separate races and end up running in the 100 meters, and I was very unhappy with that. So I don't think that Linford, bro, was malicious
No.
no, I don't think so. I think that when you
The
are
reason I
at that level, what no, but hang on, let me finish. When
okay.
you're at that level, I
Yeah.
think you want to get out on, like, you want to go out like that. But I mean, I really wasn't worried. I mean, I'd beaten Linford several times, and whether it was going to make a difference finals, I do not know. But there's no chance I was going to lose in Atlanta.
Well, the interesting part, the reason why I brought that up was the very first time you ran a race with Linford Christie, he tried to give you a little bit of an intimidation.
Oh
He kind
yeah,
of
yeah, 94 for sure.
and he kind of said, "All right, let's go," and you beat him then, anyways,
Listen,
right?
here's the
So
thing. Here's the thing. I mean, I like when I look, even when I see some of the kids, like we have some great kids in Canada that's competing right now on the world stage, but everyone's so nice. It's so it's like, listen, man, we went to war. Like myself, Glenroy and Bruni went to war with each other. I mean, I wasn't afraid of them either, but we went to war, and then when it was over, we would be having dinner. Like, I mean,
right,
I mean, we were, I mean, like a lot of times people think that Carl Lewis and I don't get along. Linford and I don't get along. Like any of these guys, it's just that there was a different kind of, um, uh, like tenaciousness that we had. I mean, the guy today that reminds me of old school track and field is like Christian Coleman from the U.S. He just doesn't care. He doesn't want to be your friend. It doesn't matter. He shows up. He wants to beat your ass, and then you'd be like, hey, listen, I mean, good run, whatever. I mean, so he could have survived in the old school in the old school days. Certainly, Usain could have done that because, I mean, one, he's bigger and faster, but Usain definitely loves to chirp, and
very cool.
you cannot be a sprinter and not chirp. I mean, you cannot.
Like
Someone's
baller,
gonna come at you, and you've got to call it, and then you got to lay them down and quiet them, and then you can go on and you could be happy.
not unlike being a basketball player, Donna. You got to bring it, right? Talking, right? Oh, I got hit.
I just promise I'm gonna dunk on someone. That's all. And I want to make sure that, me. I didn't care about
So,
scoring 40 points a game.
no, I crowned your butt, and that's all that matters. Did you see that? Like
One dunk,
all
one dunk.
everything and one, right? I don't care. You scored 3. I crowned you.
Right.
So really interesting
Four
thing.
fouls, four fouls, one dunk. I'm good.
That's it. So Usain Bolt is arguably the world, like you just said, best sprinter ever, right?
No
And
doubt.
you just talked about how he wasn't really a physical specimen. Like Glenn Mills and Steve Francis built Jamaica track, men and women, into a
Right.
juggernaut of speed. So
Absolutely.
this goes to human performance, okay? In golf, all right, we look at the physical specimens now on the PGA Tour, and it's all about speed. Very similar trajectories in terms of
Right.
their physicality and the way they're made up.
Mm-hmm.
What is this about being such, like, what were Glenn Mills and Stephen Francis's, like, what was their secret?
Well, I don't know exactly what their secrets are, but I can tell you that number one, both of these men started with amazing athlete specimen themselves. I mean, there's always been, a ton. I mean, some of the best sprinters in the world, some of the best track athletes, track and field athletes in the world come from Jamaica. I am Jamaican. Linford Christie's Jamaican, but not only that. There's been a slew of, I mean, Lennox Miller. I mean, there's a slew of amazing sprinters from Jamaica, from dating back from the 1920s, 1930s. Amazing. Every single year, if anyone doesn't know this, every single year there's a thing called champs. Champs in Jamaica is the greatest and biggest high school track and field championships in the world. Like I said,
Really?
in the world, the biggest track and field championships in the world. And every single year, if you have an opportunity, especially after this pandemic settles, if you have ever an opportunity to go to champs, it's where you see future Olympic champions, and you're seeing them competing at the highest level when they're 11, 12, 13, 14 years old, and they're doing phenomenal things. So back to Glenn, and Stephen. These guys, both of them it's learned behavior from them. These guys study. They study from, obviously some of the other coaches, some of the great coaches that they do workshop with overseas and all that. But both of them thought that they could build track and field in Jamaica by having some of these kids staying home, because although the NCAA system is still the greatest, I guess it would be greatest junior league, development league for track and field athletes. Glenn and Stephen definitely noticed that in Jamaica, you got great food, you got warm weather, you certainly can get the physiotherapy help. They thought they could do this, and they've done a phenomenal job. I mean, Shelly Ann Fraser, I mean, is one of the greatest sprinters that ever, one of the greatest sprinters that ever lived. I'm talking about men and women. And of course, you certainly got Usain, but you also got, Asafa Powell, Nesta Carter. I mean, you got amazing Johan Blake. You have amazing athletes, and these guys certainly have gotten the ability to harness these kids, put them into an organized and structured program, because that's a lot of times in track and field, that's really what it's about. A lot of times, actually, anything, Doug, you know this. If you get an athlete and you put them in a structured environment, then they're gonna improve. That's how I improved, and that's certainly a lot of these athletes that you see out of Jamaica. Structured environment, very certain, Doug. As soon as you have a kid and you start teaching the fundamentals of golf, then you can see him every single day shine and get better. And it's just really a structured environment.
Well, that brings me to a really cool question for you, because I was thinking about this and I thought, if there were some words of wisdom you could pass on to any young people watching today about working on their craft and sharpening their swords, how best can they do that in their sport that they choose and do it to their best of their ability? What are great Donovan Bailey, what can you pass on as some nuggets of information that they should do to make sure that they're on the right track?
Well, here's the thing. I'm a glasses half full kind of guy. So the very first thing I'm going to tell kids is that you got to enjoy it. Like, you really have to enjoy it. And then you have to have the ability to focus and be disciplined, but also you have to trust the person that's teaching you. I mean, the number one thing, I'm very certain that there's no child that's not going to have the support of their parents. But you really have to trust the coach. So one, you got to enjoy it. You've got to relax, because if you relax, then you're like a sponge. So you have the ability to absorb information, and if you're enjoying it and you have the ability to absorb information, then it's just going to be even better, because you're going to improve, which is some of the 3 core standard things that I think every single kid should actually learn. And this is about any sport. I mean, I say the very same things to Fortune 500 CEOs. Because high intensity, we know this. That's part of competition. But go to practice and you got to enjoy it. I mean, every single thing is learned behavior. So if you're going to swing class with Doug, I mean, get in there and just get in the rhythm. Do 100 of them. Just get in, enjoy it, crack a couple of jokes. And so when it becomes second nature, that's when things are awesome.
That's fantastic. That's great information. So my last bit is, you're an amazing color commentator. You're to watch you, sit there and break down track and field and talk about it is a joy. I think that's actually a really great venue for you to be in. Did you ever give it a consideration to be in sport broadcasting after your career was finished?
No, no, not at all, actually.
Wow.
Oh, hold on. That was Terry calling me. Crazy.
Nice.
Anyways, no, I never thought I want to do it full time because I think I've always loved business and real estate and all that. But now I know that it's a reason for me to keep my thumb on the pulse of the young kids and what's going on. I think I learn more of myself, when I do it. And also, I've worked with CBC, for the past 20 years, 20,
right.
Oh my God, since 2001. And, whether I come on for 30 seconds or I come on for, entire programs, I mean, and there's some amazing people and certainly, especially as we go on over the years, I mean, I get in, I've got a great platform, great guys to work with. Great people to work with. I shouldn't say guys because there's some great women there also.
Yes.
And I mean, this is a way for me to keep my finger on the pulse. Track and field really is not something that we could probably do a show on all year round. So
Right.
definitely considering. I certainly want to do something in television this year.
Well,
and yeah.
but if you're stuck, you did do an amazing cameo on the Mr. D
God.
show with Jerry. I mean, hey, coming back, running him in track, that was a fantastic episode. And I mean, the tracksuit they had you in, dude, you look spectacular in your 50-year-old body running against Jerry. He's a good friend of mine.
Geez,
I his girls, and I know he's a huge fan of yours, and you're a big fan of his. But I thought that was one of the funniest episodes. I'm like, yo, D, what's going on? You're on the TV.
Dude, I don't know, man. I mean, having red velvet ball huggers is not exactly what you want to, and fat at the same time. I came back from actually filming another show in Switzerland. So yeah, listen, Jerry made that so much fun, man. I mean, it was, I went out there for a couple of days. I mean, I went out with him a couple of times. I went out with Maestro, who was also on the show. But we went out with Maestro one evening. So listen, man, it was amazing to just go and do it, drop in. Like he had called me, I think it was a couple of months before, and said, "Listen, I got something for you if you're willing to do it." And I'm like, "Hell yeah!" I said, part of the problem is that most people don't really understand that yes, I could be serious. I definitely can. There's an edge.
Right.
But most time, but 90% of the time, I'm just a happy-go-lucky guy. You know that, Doug.
Absolutely. And you know what? That is the reason why I asked you to come on. And you know what, dude? This hour has flown by. We could talk for another 3.
There's an hour. Ooh.
It's an hour. But listen, I can't thank you enough for sharing some great stories, listening to my questions, answering them very well. Gives everybody a little insight into our Canadian GOAT in track and field. The one, the only, my boy, Mr. Donovan Bailey. Brother,